faculty, friends and family of Boston University College of Communication, and of course, thank you to the graduates of the 2025 master's programs. It's hard to believe that I graduated from this same school and program over 40 years ago in 1982. I studied research methodology in the days when we had hole-punched data cards that had to be fed into a mainframe computer. Sound quaint? When I studied at BU, there was also no email, no internet, no personal computers, no Instagram, no Twitter, no X, no TikTok, no iPhone. Really? Thinking back, it's hard to fathom how we got anything done. And yet we did. Perhaps things moved more slowly, but as a freshly minted graduate from BU's College of Communication in the early 1980s, I wanted the same things you do. I wanted a job. I wanted to practice my new skills. I wanted to change the world through storytelling. As a producer, as a media executive, as a broadcaster, as a digital entrepreneur 40 years later, I can assure you that despite the test of time and technology, in each of these roles, at its core, the work has remained the same. And what's that work for communicators? It's what's the story? Who's the audience? And how do I reach them with the most impact? And while the tools have changed, storytelling remains the same, as does the power of compelling narrative to change the hearts and minds of millions of people. Whether you're telling a story as a public relations or advertising executive to position your client or a brand, whether you're a media scholar trying to understand how the nature of narrative is evolving in this digital world, whether you're a journalist holding truth to power, whether you're a filmmaker trying to move your audience to laughter or to tears, storytelling still defines us, defines our world, defines our humanity. It's how we connect. It's how we learn. It's how we advance things. But thinking about the changes we are seeing in the world today, what happens when the rules of engagement change? What happens when people declare the media is the virus, a slogan that took hold during the pandemic? And more recently, when some leaders pronounced that all mainstream media, including public media, must be fake news, woke, or biased, and cannot be trusted. Anger and mistrust, which are both fueled by disinformation, are on brazen display in a way that we have not seen since the Second World War. It's alarming, and it shows us dramatically, vividly, what happens when people lose trust. We feel anxious. All that we thought we knew to be true unravels. I cannot think of an issue more urgent for all of us in this room today than failing trust. And because I believe you, as the communicators of tomorrow, are the custodians of trust, let's talk about it. It's actually hard to rally people around the idea of trust. You can't touch it, you can't see it. Yet think of how trust affects your life 1,000 times each day. You trust your family and friends. You trust your doctors and professors. You trust that the lights will turn on when you flip the switch, and that your phone will recharge when you plug it in. This trust is what lets us live our lives without fear. We get in our cars because we trust that the other drivers won't run the red light and smash into us. We drink from the tap because we trust the water is clean. We go to the ballot box because we trust our vote will be counted. We put a tremendous amount of trust in the people around us. We have to. Without trust, we retreat, we become polarized and paralyzed. We can no longer agree on anything. And just as our individual lives are worse if we don't trust those around us, our society is worse if we don't trust the foundational principles and institutions upon which it is built. Our transportation systems, the electrical grid, our utilities, our schools, our libraries, our government. Trust is essential to a functioning democratic society. If we cannot have conversations and seek common ground, we cannot move forward together. And the research is pretty stark. The Edelman Barometer has been tracking trust for over 25 years. In the latest results, the barometer finds that the levels of trust in media and government have declined dramatically around the globe since the pandemic. According to Gallup, Americans are now divided into thirds, with 31% trusting the media a great amount or a fair amount, 33% not trusting it very much, and a full 36% saying they have no trust in the media at all. And this number is up from 6% in 1972. A whole lot of factors have contributed to this decline, but the research agrees on the negative impact of social media, despite all its early promise of democratization of news and citizen participation. Misinformation has always existed. It's been with us for centuries, but social media hasn't. Frances Haugen, the Facebook whistleblower, makes an important point. Today, the very powerful media companies use algorithms to curate what you see, to amplify hate and disinformation in order to generate profits. This algorithm-driven cycle, in turn, lures people into a universe of distrust. Compounding the problem, the proliferation of sources of information has led to burnout and news avoidance. One beacon of light is local news. Americans display higher levels of trust if they believe the news reported is local. I'll come back to the importance of local in a moment. So what can you, the graduates of BU, do to improve trust through the power of your communication training? As Maria Ressa, journalist and winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, has said, without facts, you can't have truth. Without truth, you can't have trust. And if you don't have these three, you don't have a shared reality. A lot has been written about cultivating trust. But as the former CEO of a public broadcaster, I found the model from the Gustafson School of Business at the University of Victoria particularly helpful in my efforts to build trust with viewers. Gustafson identifies ability, affinity, and authenticity as the key ingredients to strengthening trust in organizations and brands. Let me take them one by one. Ability is simply whether the consumer or audience believes a brand or an organization does what it is meant to do. So let's take the example of electric cars. You build electric cars, and therefore the product you deliver does not use fossil fuels. Your job as the storyteller is to make sure that that ability or promise is clearly and accurately communicated. Affinity is how the consumer feels about their relationship with the brand. And in this case, I'm an environmentally concerned consumer, I'm worried about climate change, and want to do something about it. And your brand of electric car aligns with my values. Again, as the storyteller, your job is to make sure the more complex notion of shared values is demonstrated as well as communicated. The third most important driver of trust is authenticity. In this instance, the brand is perceived by the consumer to act more broadly in ways that align with its stated values. Not only is the car non-fossil fuel dependent, but also perhaps the entire supply chain to build the car is environmentally sustainable. And the leaders of the company stand up for this priority publicly. So when we see that Volkswagen was found to have installed software in its vehicles in order to cheat on its emissions reporting, or the CEO of Tesla flips his position on climate change, authenticity is fractured, reputational damage occurs, and trust is lost. And as you can imagine, earning back trust is a longer road than winning it. We're here today celebrating your graduation. And the good news is that you are the custodians of the future of trust. It's in your hands. I have a huge amount of confidence that you will succeed in turning the tide on trust. And I want you to know that you are not alone. There are many people here in the United States and around the world committed to a future for the internet that is open, that is free, interoperable, reliable, secure, and that also affirms a shared commitment to protecting human rights online. 3 years ago, over 60 countries, including the US, signed on to this commitment to reclaim the promise of the World Wide Web in a declaration for the future of the internet. There is no silver bullet, but as tomorrow's communicators, you can be the stewards of a better internet. Eli Pariser, who coined the term the filter bubble, to describe how the algorithms of the internet feed us what we want to hear and reinforce our positions in an echo chamber, said recently, "The internet is only 3 decades old. There is no reason for us to simply shrug our shoulders and accept that its current model is the only and final way it can exist. Today, its architecture is feudal. Power is hyper-concentrated in the hands of a few tech billionaires feeding us their serfs. This is a medieval construct which enriches mostly the overlords. There are many, and I really stress this, and you can join the movement, there are many who are interested in a more open, fair, civically minded internet, an internet committed to broader public interest. So as the future custodians of trust, what can you do? As you practice your communication skills, consider how you can improve media literacy. The more the public understands how to tell fact from fiction, the more discerning they become. If you're on the journalism path, consider how you can improve the transparency in your reporting, especially in the ethical use of AI. And for all of us as individuals, look to the strength of local. Why is it that local is the last holdout of trust in news? I would argue that local is our superpower because it is rooted in community. At the local level, we have responsibilities and connections to our neighbors, to our communities. We are never anonymous nor led by algorithms. We listen. And we are inclined to acts of kindness and generosity, helping a neighbor with groceries or holding someone's delivery for them. The global digital tech ecosystem has successfully wiped out this sense of community and civic responsibility, and these are the roots of our democracy. When I think about the high points in my career, the greatest successes were rooted in authenticity, a singular point of view, often very local. Like the film Bowling for Columbine, a plea for gun control, told locally. Or Schitt's Creek, an ode to tolerance and the power of inclusion, told from a motel in a small town. Or more recently, embedding CBC journalists and programmers in hundreds of libraries across Canada to connect directly with the public. or committing to truth and reconciliation with Indigenous audiences by consulting with them in their homes and in their communities. If you, as freshly minted graduate students, can double down on this local superpower, which is rooted in authenticity, direct human connection, volunteerism, civic pride, I believe we can build a powerful force for trust. Because there is nothing more authentic than community, a pride of place and belonging. And our community here today, a community of storytellers, a community of graduates of Boston University, committed to facts and truth-telling. You have the power to feed and strengthen trust, to build that shared reality that Maria Ressa spoke of. And that will only strengthen our democracy. Thank you.